In this video, I will teach you why you can't lose fat without calorie deficit. This is going to be a quick one. My name is Szymon and welcome back to my channel. Let's go! We need to understand the mechanism behind it. First of all, fat cells shrink when energy leaves them faster than new energy enters them. That is the rule and it applies regardless of the insulin level. Here's why. A fat cell is a storage depot. If you're withdrawing more than you are depositing, the fat cell shrinks. That basic math doesn't change. The confusion that often comes up is from mixing up two different questions. The first one is, can you mobilize fat from the fat cell? While the second is, can the fat cell actually shrink? When insulin is high, the fat cell cannot release its energy easily, and it will greedily accept new fat coming in every time. You can eat fewer calories, but if the insulin keeps the fat cell locked down, you're basically fighting a losing battle. Your metabolism tends to slow down before you actually use the stored energy. Hunger usually wins and you quit the diet. When insulin is low, the fat cell opens up, fat pours out, and you burn it easily. But here's the thing, if you eat so much food that energy coming in exceeds the energy coming out, even at low insulin, your body has to do something with that excess. It can burn more, so your metabolic rate ticks up, it can waste some as heat, and it can excrete ketones. But there's a ceiling to that. Eventually, if the surplus is large enough, some of it gets stored somewhere. Being in calorie deficit is necessary to shrink the fat cells. Remember, they can only shrink when more energy leaves them than enters them. That's the physics of it. A fat cell is a storage depot. If withdrawals exceed deposits, the cell inevitably gets smaller. I'm kind of repeating myself, but I hope you understand the basic mechanism. What lowering insulin makes a difference for is hunger management mostly, as well as keeping the metabolic rate high, as well as muscle, energy, mood, all that while being in calorie deficit. So if someone claims that they've lost a lot of fat easily on ketogenic or carnivore diet, despite not counting calories, they're probably correct. You absolutely can lose ton of weight, ton of fat to be precise, without ever counting calories, but it doesn't mean that you weren't in a calorie deficit. It's just it was way easier to adhere to thanks to low insulin and promoting satiety through protein, fat and carb restriction. All the calories count and your body can count them very precisely, even if you don't count them at all. So why low insulin is key? It makes any amount of calorie deficit sustainable and tolerable. With low insulin, you're not starving. Your hunger drops. You naturally eat less without white-knuckling it. Once insulin is controlled and hunger is managed well, a modest deficit becomes easy to attain and maintain. That is what works in the real world and why. But the deficit itself, regardless of insulin, is still mandatory for the fat loss to occur as well. That's why if you want to lose some weight, you need to pay attention to actually eating less than you use in terms of energy, regardless if you meticulously count calories or not. Of course, if fat loss is your goal in the first place. So to sum up, without the insulin piece, a calorie deficit becomes misery usually, and misery often just doesn't last long. However, with insulin controlled, a deficit becomes way easier to adhere to, especially long term. That's it for this shorter video this time. As always, if you appreciate what I'm doing, please click all the YouTube clickable things and remember to check out my other videos. For now, thank you so much for watching. My name is Szymon and I wish you a wonderful day. See you next time. Stay healthy.